Hello and welcome from Young Corps TV. My name is Dean. Today on MtG Community Muckbang, we're trying something fun. We're trying something new, a fun community hang with MtG content creators. Today, we have a very special guest, my man Coach from The Card Bazaar. You can catch him over at The Card Bazaar on YouTube. That's Bazaar. And of course, you can catch him on Tin Street Hooligans over at They Said, We Said, live on Tuesdays. And for my money, probably the best live chat. And also for my money, probably the best lore guys around. Coach, thank you for stopping by, and welcome to the first pilot inaugural episode of MtG Community Muckbang.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, brother. The whole concept of a mukbang is I'll go ahead and do the dramatic reveal. I'm assuming you have some nugs as well.
Today's episode is just a slight 10-piece,
okay.
Just a kind of a snack size.
Curious, man. I as well. So the whole kind of vibe behind a mukbang is just a casual hang, just talking some shop. I did get the 10-piece, but I don't know in your area, do they do the upsell, which doesn't make sense. So it's like $4.40 for 10, or for an extra 60 cents, you get the additional 10. Like, do you,
they do. I know they do like the 5 for 20, like five bucks, 20 nuggets and stuff like that.
Don't know if we're gonna get there, but I opted in for the 20-piece. I'll probably start slow. But yeah, so I noticed you went with McDonald's as well. Right off the top, before we kind of get too deep, just tell us a little bit about the Card Bazaar and kind of what you're doing over there, and just a little bit what makes you tick.
Basically, the history of Magic the Gathering. I started with going over the history of the card sets, got into lore, doing kind of a few other things on the side, but basically it's a history, Magic the Gathering history.
Yeah, man, awesome stuff, dude. Now, how long's the channel been around for? Seems like
2.5 years. Okay. August 9th of 2016. So it's approaching the 3-year mark.
Pretty good stuff, man. A lot of good views. And so before we kind of deep dive into what we're talking about today, you have a very special project that you've been working on, and I've actually been very impressed with. But let's go ahead and address the nug situation. So you went with McDonald's.
Yes.
What kind of dips you got? Any kind of action you got?
Sweet and sour.
Sweet and sour. Actually, I did as well. Funny you say that. But I did bring out some reserves. I don't know about you. I am a nugget connoisseur.
A nugget enthusiast.
As I'm grabbing this, go ahead and talk about what is the origin, the genesis of Coach and Nugs, because it's kind of synonymous. I don't know. It seems like it's a thing. So I'm just curious about like how that got started.
Well, the nugget thing happened when actually on Tin Street Hooligans, I think it was like one of the first few episodes. And I don't remember how it came up. John probably brought it up. And my, I guess, go-to line was, nuggets. Yeah. And so now that's just been a running joke forever. You know, John's a really good guy, and I don't know how that came up, but it's just like nuggets are now associated with me.
Yeah. Any merchandise? MtG Nugs, is that a thing? I think I've been hanging out in some chats. It seems like it comes out a lot. How far are you going to kind of foray into the nugget phenomenon? It seems like any like chance of that being a like merchandise?
I don't know, unless McDonald's ends up wanting to sponsor me, or I don't know. Someone needs to sponsor me with nuggets, so because that would be awesome. Free food for life, or
free food for life.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, McDonald's connection. Now, do you have a? So I kind of touched on my sauce right here. I opted in for the sweet and sour, but I am a Sweet Baby Ray's fan. So what my little trick is, I do the Sweet Baby Ray barbecue sauce half and half with some sriracha sauce. So that's kind of my go-to dip. And then if you'd like to, I also did the sweet and sour with some sriracha on the side. So nuggets are a thing. But before we get too deep as well, top 3 nugs. Are you more of a fast food nug guy, or do you do like I know a couple episodes you do the frozen nugs? Is there any?
My preference is McDonald's, and then right after that, it's probably the Jack in the Box, Wendy's, and then it's like the HEB Hill Country Fare. Yeah, kind of frozen chicken nuggets.
If I'm messing with nugs, dude, it's got to be McDonald's. But I don't know, dude. Where are you at with the tender phenomenon? I mean, it's out there. It seems like the premium tenders are a thing.
I don't know. I
think they're too expensive, man. If I'm paying like $4. You usually get like 4. It's like $1 per tender. I don't know, man. You go bulk nugs. Give it nugs. I like nugs.
Usually I go with the local restaurant over here that does like tenders. So I usually kind of stay away from the premium chicken strips from McDonald's. Yeah, I mean they're not bad. Jack in the Boxes are a little bit better as well. But yeah, man. So it's kind of like the goofy stuff. Today we're talking about your latest project, the Thran 34 chapter audio book. Pretty exciting stuff. What kind of made you want to do an audio book? I'm assuming it's an ambitious project to say the least. Kind of like, what was the thought process behind getting that started? Doing something nobody's done. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's plain and simple. Like audiobooks have been a thing on YouTube, but MTG audiobooks, nobody's really finished. Like people have started the Brothers War, which is one of the most popular books in the entire like MTG lore.
Yeah.
And nobody's finished it. So it's like 20% done, 25% done. And nobody's ever even started from the beginning timeline wise with the books.
Okay.
So I thought, oh, if this becomes popular, like I might end up doing more of these. So I started with the very beginning as far as the Brothers War was like one of the first ones to be published. And then it was the prequel that came before that, or it came after that as far as, publishing date. But story-wise, the Thran came before the Brothers War, so I decided to do that first.
Okay. I guess I was going to go into my next question, like why this story? I guess was another option was another option close, or did you always just kind of want to start from the beginning?
That's just my thought process, is just starting from the beginning, and it's a lot easier for me to pick up where I left off and not just bounce around, because I know people do not like when someone like me bounces around from story to story to story.
Yeah, I think that's a good approach too. You start from the beginning. If people are interested, they're going to kind of latch on and obviously continue it on. I guess for the uninitiated, what is like the elevator pitch for the Thran? Like what's going on? Basically, why should people be excited to kind of check it out and go back to the origin story?
Well, nobody's ever had, people do summarizations, like Wedge from the Mana Source does like the summarizations, but it doesn't really give the stories any justice. So what I started to do was actually just do the unofficial audiobooks. I have to say unofficial because this is not like Wizard sponsored or anything.
Yeah,
but it's to get specific details of maybe the story. And one of the conversations we had in the comment section was that talking about Yawmoth, like when Wedge summarized Yawmoth, he was seen like this evil ne'er-do-well who like up to no good. And then you start looking into the actual story and start listening to it. It's like not I wouldn't say it's like completely false, but it's like it gives a different take on Yawmoth when you listen to the story and what he's being driven by. Yeah.
Super interesting. Like now I'm kind of like a newer player. I kind of got introduced to Yawgmoth from Dominaria and that period. So it is kind of a Yawgmoth origin story, if I believe correct, right?
Basically, yeah, that's his Yawmoth's rise to power.
Yeah. Before we kind of get to that, so when did you start playing Magic, and how far after did you get into lore?
Let's see.
About that, I kind of had to get into myself.
Magic, I started. I've played a little bit before, like I really got into it with cons. So I played when I was younger, like 1997, 98-ish, when I was like a little kid. Yeah. Didn't really pick up on it. I didn't really know what it was exactly. My thing when I was younger was Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually, that's there was a TV show. They were like the start. Like I started like 2002 when like the Dark Magician deck and the Blue Eyes White Dragon deck came out, and then probably around 2014 when cons came out, that's when I really started getting into it. A friend brought some decks over, some booster packs, and we kind of just played around and went to my local game store, had my first FNM, made a mono white Warriors deck from bulk rares and commons and uncommons. So, and went I think 1-3-1, but I was like hooked. And, from there I just started getting more into just playing the game. And I really didn't get into the lore until probably like Battle for Zendikar, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Maybe a little bit earlier, like with the origin stories.
It's very fascinating. Actually, I'm interested you say that because like I said, about like 4 years into Magic right now. For me, first it was like gameplay. I loved collecting. I loved cracking packs, getting rares. Then I kind of fell in love with the art. Just after a couple of years later, you're just seeing the art, and then I kind of got into themes. Putting together a cool vampire deck, mono white things and like soldier decks and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until a couple years later, so I was like starting noticing some similarities in the art. Like this artifact is from a card a couple years ago, and this kind of really blew my mind. And then it seemed like it's a process. Like people eventually get to the lore area from their love of Magic, and it's just like a natural path. So that's actually pretty cool, man. So you've been playing Magic way back when. When did you first pick up the Thran? I believe it came out in 1999, correct? It's
oh my gosh, I mean. I listened
into the books, I guess, or
not really actually. Yeah. Like I really didn't get into the books until like much, like a little bit more recent actually, because I like listening to the summaries. I'm not actually a really wasn't a really huge book reader or audiobook person until like last year or the year before. Like I picked up Audible like probably a year ago, and that's been such a cool little app to kind of get signed up for, because on my car rides to work, I'll just start listening to like a couple chapters, and just kind of catch up with some stories and pass a little downtime. Like, you know, right now I'm listening to this Eldest, the second in the inheritance cycle. And so that's been like a pretty good read. But I didn't get into like the magic books until, you know, I'll listen to the summaries because they were quick, easy hitters. Yeah. But like I got into probably the books like last year, maybe.
That's pretty hard to believe. So there's no official Wizards of the Coast official audiobooks. There's not like, or that's crazy, man.
Yeah, there's because I was trying to look at it on Audible and like nothing.
I get kind of leads me to my next question, I guess. So Wizards of the Coast, do they have any like pushback and or support? Because you said it's an unofficial book, but you are acting under the fan content policy, correct? So
yes,
officially legal. You maybe explain the fan content policy, and has Wizards responded at all, or have you got any feedback?
I've actually emailed about doing it and see if I could do it basically for free or do it under my channel. Yeah. And the first time I asked him, it's like, yeah, it's covered under fan content policy 2017, yada yada yada. And then I was like, okay, maybe I should like send another email like next week and like a little bit more detail, because I also want to do the D&D books as well, do like a reading of the D&D book, so there's like a follow along. And so getting into that, I sent another email, and they pretty much said, we are not really, you know, well versed into this scene, into this area, so please go seek legal counsel. And then I actually did go seek legal counsel like a couple days afterwards. So I did it just through the website, where you actually have to pay to like either call or message or email or text like lawyers or have conversations with them online. And so that's what I basically did. I have all the like conversations I have just in case like somebody asks. But basically the IP lawyer said it was covered under fan content policy. So, and as long as I had to make it unofficial, has to be public, has to be available.
Free. No paywalls, no Patreon.
Yeah. Well, the Patreon, you could have Patreon, and under the fan content policy, you could like advertise for it. You could even run ads. You just can't make it to where you pay me and you get to see the video.
Gotcha. I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, podcasts nowadays are huge. People love audiobooks. Audible's a thing. I feel like Wizards of the Coast would absolutely be in the best interest to jump on this kind of thing. How has the community response been? It's been out for a couple weeks, or actually,
the whole book's probably been out for a couple weeks or so. So I mean, it's the first couple chapters. You know, the prologues probably had almost 7,000 views. The first couple chapters probably around 3,000 to 4,000, maybe. That first half of people just didn't like the audiobook, so they just kind of like went away from it.
Gotcha. How much did you actually create beforehand before you started uploading videos? Like, did you have a couple in the bank? Did you have like a nice flow of things? Was there like, how was the delivery system of the audiobook?
Let me see. I think I probably had like, I want to say like 3 videos, like 3 chapters before I started like releasing. I released usually every 2 to 3 days. And it got to a point where there was a couple times where I had to like wait a week to re-upload. That was actually happened twice, where I had to like wait a week and then just go back to my usual schedule. And I probably in about a 3-month period was releasing videos. But overall, it was like a pretty smooth system where I would record, edit, put something out there, and then just keep doing that. And there's a couple times where I did, in the middle of it, I did have like multiple, like at the very last chapters, like the last 6 chapters, I had it ready to go, and I just decided to release them all at the same time. Just okay, let's get this over with. I don't want to do another 2 days full audiobooks, because if that was the case, this would be like the last day where I release the last chapter. And no, let's not. Let's just get it out there.
How was that? So did you notice like a natural like interest from week to week, like going in the future? If you were to do this again, would you do like a similar like release schedule, or?
I would probably do a similar release schedule, probably like instead of maybe every 2 days or every 3 days, but get it to where it's like 3 uploads a week. And that would be like the goal. So that way it's like, it doesn't have to be every 2 days, because sometimes it'll be 4, sometimes it'll be 3. And going back and forth. I'd rather just have like 2 or 3 a week and just be like consistent with that and just give myself a little bit of time.
I feel like that feels right because they're averaging it's like 34 chapters. They're averaging about 15 minutes a piece. That's a lot of content. If you're pushing out more than 15 minutes of original produced content a week, unofficially original produced content a week, it's got to be very ambitious. Like, where were you at mentally? Like, how was the process? Did it break you? Like, would you do it again? Are you pretty happy?
I mean, I would probably do it again, but I'm just going to take a pretty decent break from the audiobooks. It might be, the Brothers War might be a summer project, but I would just want to see how the traction gets for the Thran, because if there's not a lot of traction for this, then there's no point in doing it because there's no demand for it. Like, but I would do it. I would definitely do it again if, because the cool thing about an audiobook is you don't have to worry about a script because it's already written for you.
Yeah, it's already written for you.
And then you don't have to worry about pictures. You just have to get like a main template.
Yeah.
So it's just really the editing and it's really the voice work, and that's basically
really know how the power stones work.
Acting, writing, you kind of do the whole thing yourself. Very ambitious.
You don't really know how the power stones work. You've created a whole city that relies on an energy source you do not understand. Magic, you say. It's magic. Oh, how clever. And when the magic fails, you simply say, it must have been more magic.
I listened to a couple episodes. I appreciated the Yawgmoth, the character voices and everything was changing. Like going in the future, would you look for like additional help, or is this something that you'd want to do yourself again? Would you like enlist other voice actors, or like how did you feel about the whole voice acting? Was it too daunting, or just curious?
Well, it's just for me, I know me, and I'm like, to me, I'm reliable. To get it, if it fails, it's my fault. Like that's just plain and simple. I have no excuses. I don't have to put the blame on someone else. It's just me. If I don't get this done, it's me. Once I start enlisting outside help, then it kind of like it takes away some of my burden, but then it's like a burden in another way, or it's like, okay, we got to get this out. And now instead of just one person's reliability, now it's multiple people's. Like John asked me if he want, John asked me, he wanted to do like Mishra, which I'm for, but if we have, as far as recording, if I decide to go with my older brother and his professional setup, if John tries to do it, it's going to be kind of a bad ordeal as far as the audio quality.
I would assume that's a whole nother layer of just like mastering the audio and make this mic sound like this mic. Might be a little jarring.
Yeah, and like nothing against John. It's just just anybody that I enlist. Yeah. It's just I got to deal with their schedule, and I got to deal with what if something happens. Like, so I know if it's just me doing the work, that's all I have to rely on. When I seek outside help, it's a different story, and it's sometimes not bad. It's not bad. It's just hard.
You're not in a position to like actually financially pay for these people, so it's kind of like favors. So it's probably tough for them to kind of like deliver on a timely manner for things. I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which is like a lot to ask, basically. It's like, hey man, we need this VO, we need it like 2 days and whatever stuff. So stuff like that could be an issue too, especially over a 34th chapter. Yeah. It's kind of why I did a lot of podcast stuff in my days, and it's like you said, man, it's a little tricky to kind of get everybody on the same page on a grassroots level where we're all just kind of doing this for love in our spare time. So, pretty good. So it sounds like you're going to go ahead and move on to potentially in the summertime, hopefully, the Brothers War. So we got Urza, we got Mishra, battling with Yawgmoth. I don't know too much about lore, but one of my favorite pieces as of late was probably from Dominaria. Let me pull it up here. I believe it was Yawgmoth's File Offering by Noah Bradley. Basically, for the people who don't know, I'll go ahead and put up some art right now. I think Mishra has like decapitated Urza, holding the head, and is going to offer it to Yawgmoth to get Hannah back. Which, I mean, for me, I don't know anything about the story, but just as an art piece, absolutely striking. How far away is that? Is that like where does Dominaria, the latest release, sit on the timeline?
Dominaria is like
Excuse the ignorant the questions. I'm kind of we're getting up to speed on lore myself.
So the Dominaria, a lot of the cards are going to be. It's going to be along with the Gatewatch.
Okay.
Now some of the cards are like little flashback scenes to where, it's from like the Weatherlight saga. So that's and it's a history set. That's basically what it is. Like when Urza is using the I keep forgetting. I don't want to say chalice, but he's the Golgothian Silex. and it's holding it up. That's not something that was current with the Gatewatch. That was like something during that was like near the end of the Brothers' War. So it had that imagery, and that was a flashback. And then there's like other creatures, like the descendants of like the Weatherlight crew. That's now more current stuff. So it goes back and forth. So with, I think, Yalma's Vile Offering, that's probably during the Weatherlight saga, if he's trying to get Hannah back, or if he's trying to get one of the Weatherlight crew members. That would be during roughly the Weatherlight saga, give or take.
Going back to lore, where are you at with today's modern storylines? We're in Ravnica right now. We got War of the Spark. There's a lot of planeswalkers. Basically, it's battle royale. People are, life's in peril. People are dying. Where are you at with today's storylines?
Usually I listen to Simon to kind of keep up with the current stuff, but even like the last 2 weeks or a month or so, I haven't really been keeping up with it that much. However, with the War of the Spark trailer and with the last episode of 10th Street Hooligans, kind of like seeing who's going to live, who's going to die, what's going to happen, or just, what's going to happen with the storyline. I mean, that's kind of gives you like some attention. And the last 10th Street Hooligans was a lore episode. So I kind of got more insight into the current storyline, basically. Yeah. So I'm not, everyone thinks I'm like this professional, like lore person. I'm still an amateur. I'm totally still an amateur. I don't know why people put any sort of trust in me.
Bro. You're like 6,000 subs, bro. You're getting some hits, man. You're doing good things over there.
I will be a forever amateur. Like there's no, that is just a thing. If I get professional in any sort of manner, it's going to be by sheer coincidence.
Gotcha. So I guess it's like overall tone. Like, are you kind of like happy with today's modern day storytelling? I know that Ixalan, they had some interesting stuff with like Jace and Vraska. It's just in general, I've seen it all over the place. People love it. People hate it. It's Magic. People, love it and they hate it. They love to argue about it.
I think there's some good points to it. I think there's some good little storyline threads that go with it. Now, the overall story, I don't think it's as good as like the older stuff. So that's just where I'm at. But there are some good like little tidbits here and there.
Yeah.
And like some parts flow very well. It's just the whole story overall is. I still like the older stuff.
Seems like that's the case. It's like the nostalgia, the older classic sets. Yeah, man. So like for your money, so like what is your favorite? Not necessarily thinking about timeline. Like what's your go-to storyline, go-to plane? Like what is your favorite place to immerse yourself?
Oh, if you want to go with like playing like the set seriously, the set I fell in love was the first set that I played thoroughly was Tarkir. Okay. I mean, like Fate Reforged and going back in time and saving Ugin and getting the dragons. I mean, that's totally biased because it's like the first set I really thoroughly enjoyed. But like the history of Dominaria, like the Dominarian plane is like there's just so much stuff.
Yeah,
there's a lot of history. It's the nexus of the multiverse.
Yeah, it's interesting because I started playing like right at Eldritch Moon, Shadows, eased right into Kaladesh, Amonkhet. So when I went to Dominaria for the first time, it was basically my first trip to the origin of Magic. And it was really cool just experiencing, Wizards, classical Magic storytelling, and just basically it felt like what Magic was supposed to be in the beginning. And it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed Dominaria. Do you think we'll ever get back there? Or as far as like sets go?
Oh yeah, that's I would say that's going back to Dominaria is like pretty likely.
Yeah. I feel like it was such a success, man. It was weird. It was like that one block set. Interesting choice. Like I'm happy they went with War of the Spark in a completely different area because I was getting a little fatigued with the Ravnica. Like the third set in a row. Like the 2 blocks, 2 sets in 1 block is okay. 1 is good because it leaves you wanting more. 3 might be a little bit much. I never really experienced that. But yeah, man. So pretty cool. So looking into the future. So it sounds like summertime Brothers War. Are you pretty much going to think about like just timeline stuff, continue on in that regard, I guess?
Well, as far as probably the summer project would probably most likely be the audiobook. Another project that I want to try to work on is like, another timeline based deal like I did with the first go around. Like that timeline video that I have is at like 140,000 views, which I never imagined it would be that popular, to be honest. And that's the video that's the only reason I am getting like $100 check every month from Google is that video. That video is making like 80 of it. So, Jesus Christ. And that was that was a 5 to 6 week project there. With all the stuff that I've been able to do, I think I could cut it down like something that big, maybe to like 3 weeks or a month.
Yeah. So, for the people who don't know, like, what did that video entail? What was the process? Like, what can they expect if they go search your timeline video?
If they go search the timeline video, it's just a very condensed, very quick hitting, like from the start to like, I think all the way through probably like Ixalan. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have the newer stuff now because like I did it last year. So if they go and search the timeline video, it's going to be like a 1 hour video beginning to end with a little bit of mispronunciation. Obviously, that's a thing.
We're human.
So
I don't know, man. Magic, it's pretty tough. Some Kamigawa stuff, some Khan stuff. I mean, the names are meant to be, mispronounced a little bit.
It wasn't the Kamigawa stuff. It was actually some of the Dominarian like tribes that like threw me off. Like Kamigawa was actually easier than some of the stuff that I did. More of the, it was. I don't know. It was my thinking process is all over the place.
Yeah, man. I think we're feeling pretty good about this. So the Thran audio book, is there any kind of like final thoughts, like takeaways on the actual project you think people should know? And maybe like, I know we have a beautiful Magic the Gathering online community. Is there anything that anybody can do to help you out in the process?
Oh, if they could help me out by like sharing it, putting on Reddit, Facebook, just anywhere you could put it, maybe contact some of the bigger YouTube stuff besides Simon, because Simon already knows I exist.
Yeah.
Simon, like me and Simon are like the same boat.
Yeah.
But any Tolarian Community College, Manosaurus, or like some of the bigger names, that's even if they want to like get my attention. So, but if they could just spread the word, help me out, just put it anywhere and just make the whole audiobook playlist available.
It's unique stuff, man. Like nobody's doing it. I mean, officially nobody's doing it. How many hours? Like 34 episodes, 15 minutes. Guys, that's a lot of content for free. You can go watch right now over at The Card Bazaar, BAZAAR on YouTube. I think that's it, man. 10th Street Hooligans, awesome show. You guys, is it every Tuesday or every other Tuesday? I know it's kind of
it's like every other Tuesday, which, today, let's see, today's Monday. So tomorrow will be another 10th Street Hooligan. So you'll get to see me and all my, you just get to see me and John and the producer. So
the producer, also known as John. Is everybody named John over there? I think everybody's named John. We don't want to dox you, Coach. We won't reveal your real name.
I'm pretty sure like half the people in this community know what my real name is, but it's whatever. If they don't, I'm not going to tell them.
Hey man, leave some mysteriousness about yourself. Awesome stuff, man. Any kind of like takeaways, any kind of final thoughts, anything you want people to kind of know about what's going on over there?
Yeah. If I ever do an audiobook, I'm actually going to read each chapter first instead of cold reading it.
Oh,
because that was dumb on my end. Did it 34 times and couldn't even learn from the first, second, third try.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm trying to work on some. I'm really just trying to kind of promote the videos, promote the playlist a little bit more, and just kind of relax a little bit. And then probably next week or next couple weeks, I'll have probably a card anthology. I want to get back to probably do like 2 or 3 episodes, kind of break back into that, and then switch it up. Maybe have a best performing cards, and then probably go into maybe one of the bigger projects. And then probably by the time it'll be like May or June, and start working on the Brothers War. Now the Brothers War, I say it's a summer project, but if I do that, the audio is probably going to be released during football season, so I could stay like relevant. And so I won't be trying to do content creation along during football season, because that's just way too much burnout.
Yeah. I almost are you almost going to kind of like complete as much as you can, keep it in the can and kind of slow release?
Yes.
So yeah, right. That's probably the way to do it, right? So you're not kind of like the pressure to like, I didn't do a chapter. How long did it, I guess all over the place here a little bit, but how long would like a chapter take you? So like a 15-minute video, cold read, just out of curiosity, because it's crazy process, man.
Raw audio would be anywhere from 40 minutes. I'd take that back. Probably anywhere from 25 minutes of raw audio to about, if it was a longer chapter, maybe 50 minutes of raw audio, and then cutting it down to 10 to 18 minutes. I mean, each minute took 15 minutes. So each video probably took around 4 to 5 hours. And then multiply that by 34. And that's just the editing.
Yeah.
Not to mention like the all the typing for the publishing stuff, and then even just the recording, which probably took another, probably I would say 10 to 12 hours on its own for audio.
Very ambitious. So if anybody, people, if you made it this far in this video, please go check these videos out, hit like, check out the comments, and please share. Curious about jumping back to Reddit real quick. Do you do your own posting on Reddit? Like, how would you navigate Reddit? Because I know a lot of content creators might be watching this video. A lot of people are scared of Reddit as far as the MTG main thread is pretty fickle, and they kind of don't like people just posting stuff there ad nauseum. What was your approach to tackling Reddit, I guess, for the uninitiated?
Just making sure I follow, making sure I follow the rules of just like the 9 to 10 rule, where you are commenting and liking it. But I'm banned from Reddit.
Oh, shit.
My first account's banned from Reddit.
Yeah.
So I have to someone else is
beast, man.
I have someone else who's doing it for me. So I'll I have a friend in Corpus who does it on my behalf. I just shoot them a text like, hey, can you do this? And they'll just send it out. So, I mean, I have someone doing it on my behalf, but I've been banned from Reddit because it was one thing that I messed up on. I think I posted one too many times and just, didn't follow the 9 to 10 rule.
9 to 10, they force it, huh? Now, you're posting obviously in the main MTG thread. Is there an MTG lore kind of like?
It's a MTG Vorthos, I think.
Vorthos, okay. Mm-hmm. Cool, man. So I don't know. I feel pretty good about what we did here today. Get some great stuff. Coach, man, thank you for stopping by. It's been a pleasure. 10th Street Hooligans, amazing stuff. The Card Bazaar, amazing stuff. Do you want to talk about the name real quick? Where does the Card Bazaar come from? Seems like that
was a democratic process.
Oh, democratic process. Right?
Yeah,
I like it, man. It sounds good, dude.
Well, because originally it was supposed to be, we were supposed to be starting up a small business on eBay or online.
Gotcha.
And it was 3 of us, and we decided that when we were getting the name for the DBA, that it was going to be called Deck Techs. And Deck Techs, was already taken because there's 2 companies in Texas that already have that name.
Pretty common.
Because they're they're deck building companies, literal hammer and nails and wood, building actual house decks.
If it's a different industry, can't you kind of get away from that? If it's
we didn't want to deal with that.
You don't.
It was just
Google obviously.
Yeah. So we went with the second name. We went with Card Bazaar, which was my older brother's, the name that he chose, and that was available. The way it was spelled, it was absolutely available. The only other people that have Card Bazaar is the Australian Card Bazaar, the game store, which was pretty cool. And there's been a couple times where people got me confused with their store. And I had to go up. I went up there and I apologize. No, I am the YouTube channel, and then I tagged the other Card Bazaar card shop in Australia. It's this is the people you want, and I guess they like the little tweet, and they were just kind of it's a coincidence. It was funny though. It was people still think I'm the Australian company. I'm nope. I'm in Texas. I am.
You're right.
I am South Texas. I'm 2 hours away from the border here.
Oh, man.
Okay, so yeah.
Down under, close. Right? I mean, pretty nice guys over there. I'm assuming everybody from Australia that I've interacted with has been super nice. So I'm sure they weren't too give you too much flack for that. And I'm assuming also on Twitter, the Card Bazaar. Obviously,
it's Coach at the Card Bazaar CC. So
cool, man. So, Coach, it's been an absolute blast. I don't know if you actually knocked through all of our nugs, but it's been pleasure having you on for the pilot episode of MTG Community Muckbang. My name is Dean from Young Corps TV. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to doing this in the future. Coach, thank you for stopping by. And guys, please check out the Thran audio book, Unofficial, on the Card Bazaar at YouTube. Subscribe, leave comments, share. Let's get this out there. It's awesome. It's unique. It's original. No one's doing it. So, Coach, awesome job. Pleasure having you on. And man, I think we did some great work tonight. And
awesome. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, man. So I'll catch you guys. Hit like, hit subscribe, leave some comments below, and we'll catch you next time at Young Corps TV. My name is Dean. Catch you guys later.